Good morning, friends, and welcome back to Astrology Today. My name is Mel Rose, and I'm here to share your daily aspects. Today is Sunday, March 6, 2022. The sun is in Pisces, and so are Pisces co-ruling planets. And the reason I keep mentioning that is that, it's significant enough that both of Pisces ruling planets are in the sign of Pisces now. And it's even more significant to have the sun in transit there. The sun made a conjunct with Jupiter, one of Pisces ruling planets, yesterday and today, and it'll make a conjunct coming up next week with Neptune, which is the other one. Jupiter is about expansion. It brings positive vibrations. It brings good fortune, and Neptune brings inspiration in terms of our relationship with the human collective and our relationship with spirit. So we really have sort of an expanded effect of those of that inspirational flow and good fortune on Pisces, which is a sign that's all about sort of relaxing, playing, reflecting, tying up loose ends, and being creative. So, you've got this expanded flow of inspiration and an expanded creative capacity at this time too, which is great news for us at this time. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. I want to remind you of that too. Once we move into Aries on the 20th of March, then we'll be back at the beginning of the zodiac year. So Pisces, is a symbolic ending of a cycle. This is the time when we take a break and relax and reflect before we get into the new again. And the moon begins today in Aries, making ingress early into Taurus. The moon made its last aspect with Aries last night at 10, and I think it goes into Taurus at 2 in the morning. So you had like a 4-hour void course right in the middle of the night. Maybe you had an awesome dream. Maybe you'd like to reflect on that with us. So moon in Taurus. Well, moon in Aries moving into Taurus represents a shift in our heart and our home from a really assertive, even sort of speedy, quick, sort of brash, courageous, bold vibe that wants to act, into, like Taurus can be assertive in its way too, and it can be bold as well, but it's a much more grounded and present energy that really digs on security and the sensual pleasures of the world. So that's the shift in the heart and the home, and the moon is still a waxing crescent. So at this time, we continue to make our plans, set intentions, and when you're talking about it in terms of Aries or Taurus, both of these are animals with horns. Think about your strategy going forward because next Thursday with the first quarter moon, we're going to switch from making intentions to acting on them to get our goals, to get ourselves closer to our goals. And I'm going to go ahead and get right into the aspects. I want to mention first that there is a legend on the side. I have tried to put all of the symbols that are on the page on the legend. Sometimes I miss one or two, but if you feel a little lost, you can look over here. Otherwise, I'm going to explain all of the symbols as we go through. Otherwise, I've divided the page into 2 columns, one for each of our luminaries. The moon sheds light on our inner life. This is how it feels to be us on the inside, what it feels like to be in your body, your heart, and your mind, and those things you think, feel, know, and intuit, and also who you are in your home space, your domestic world. So that's all stuff that happens on the inside. It's kind of personal life, private life. It doesn't necessarily all find expression in the outer life. The sun sheds light on the outer life. And this is really more about who we are in relationship to our workplace, our social realm, and our civic realm. So, it's the part of us that interfaces with the public, that person that people first get to know when they meet you. That's the outer life. And I address the sun's aspects and the other planets' aspects here because they take longer than these lunar aspects, which are all only a little bit, and they have more to do with what happens in our outer life, how we express ourselves out there in the world. Okay, so let's get into it. We start with the moon today. Central Standard Time, friends. At 2 in the morning, straight up. The moon makes ingress to Taurus. And Taurus, moon and Taurus vibes really come across to me as abundance, power, and security. Taurus wants to gather all the nice things around it and sort of bask in the power of being able to meet any need and to feel secure in the place where they are. It's a good time to put down roots or plant seeds or, really work the soil even if you're in a place where you can do that right now. And this is a transit that lasts 2.5 days before the moon moves into the next sign, which will be Gemini. Then at 2:06 a.m. and at 2:06 a.m. the moon makes a square with Venus conjunct Mars. Now, Venus conjunct Mars went full conjunct yesterday. They are right on top of each other. They're 0 degrees apart, okay? So you see, they are right next to each other, not even next to each other. They're right on top of one another. So moon makes the same aspect with both of them. And this is a square aspect, so it represents the potential for some challenges to come up, a little bump in the road that we have to pay attention to and get around, okay? Moon square Mars, when I sum it up, it comes to me as rejection makes us petty, right? We have a lot of desire to pursue what it is we want. We've got that drive, but it could be that we also don't have a very good attitude about it, and so that sort of pushes things away from us. And then moon square Venus, we can be kind of selfish or moody or careless. We're really open to love and affection, but that doesn't mean that we're being good partners in that situation. So, take all of that together, and I'm going to say from about 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. It's about a 2-hour aspect. I'm glad it's in the morning. I'm glad it's so early in the morning. Most of us will be asleep. Let's try not to be too aggressive with anyone that we really care about. And let's also try not to be careless with anybody that we really care about at this time. It's a really brief aspect. Don't make it something more than it has to be, so then you have to deal with it later, right? And then today tomorrow morning, actually, at 12:38 a.m., Monday morning, the moon makes a conjunct with Uranus. So that's another middle of the night aspect. It occurs to me that these are all kind of very early morning or middle of the night. Moon making conjunct with Uranus gives us, it amplifies our sense of the inner life, and it also amplifies our sense of shifts and changes. And it can be very intuitive and instinctual. We might just really feel compelled to make a shift or a change, to do something differently. And at this time, acting on instinct can help with this sort of internal restlessness where we feel hot and we feel cold, or we're in a hurry and then we're not in a hurry, that kind of thing. Sometimes people just get a little restless. And, I find personally, and also the guidance that comes with that particular aspect says, go ahead and act on instinct. Not all of your moves are going to be completely well received. Conjunct does not guarantee good outcomes, but, it can be really useful to really go with the flow at this time. And then on the sun side of the page, in the ongoing column, today is day 2 of 1. Okay, so this is about a 24-hour aspect. Sun conjunct Jupiter. You see Sun, Jupiter, and Neptune are all in Pisces here. So the Sun and Jupiter went like this, and they are overlapping one another. And this puts the spotlight on good fortune. Again, Jupiter is that planet that's about expansion and growth and things that grow our idea of what is possible for ourselves. So like higher education and travel abroad and dealing in large sums of money in business, that kind of thing. So and the sun is just the spotlight. This is our outer life and what our outer life is showing us right now. And it's a flow of good fortune coming in, powerful, expansive vibes coming in. And I went out and bought my lottery tickets yesterday. So I can't tell you, of course, whether or not I won anything in the lottery yet, because I'm recording this the night before. But, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm feeling pretty fortunate today. And then today we also have through the 20th of March, Jupiter sextile Neptune. And the note that came to me when I was writing was life expands when we roll with the changes. Okay, I said Neptune, but that's Uranus. Uranus here, right? Moon conjunct Uranus, Jupiter sextile Uranus. So Jupiter, good fortune in a very positive cooperative vibration with the shifts and changes that we can make. And then here's this opportunity coming that's saying, hey, look, you might feel some impulsiveness and some instinct to make changes quickly. And it's really okay to go with the flow. And this is saying it's really okay to go with the flow because the flow is expansive. The flow is growing your experience right now. The flow is good fortune. So keep that in mind. And then also through the 20th of March, at least, we have Venus conjunct Mars. But yesterday, Venus conjunct Mars moved out of Capricorn. So remember, we kept talking about how it's the work that we have to do in our relationships, and it has a lot to do with perhaps our workplace relationships as well. Now they have made ingress to Aquarius. So, Venus and Mars are exactly conjunct today, right here, 206. Exactly conjunct today, just sort of riding forward alongside one another like buddies, arm in arm. And so when Venus is in Aquarius, this has to do with, this makes us feel about our relationships like we like independence. And that doesn't mean we want to be disloyal. It just means that we want to be able to, act of our own accord within our relationship. And friendship, we want to be friends with the people that we're partners with. And we want things to be really balanced. We want things to be fair with the people that we're partners with. And again, partnership, that's romance. It's also workplace partnerships. It's family and friends. We just want it to be fair and friendly. And we want to feel like, we're choosing to be there. And then Mars in Aquarius is a little less strong than it was in Capricorn because Mars is said to be exalted in Capricorn. And what that means is that Mars is really highly functioning. Capricorn really puts Mars to work for a purpose, so Mars and anybody affected by Mars, which we all have Mars in our chart, is really working on those things that we are, wherever Mars is in your chart, find out where it is in the house, and that'll tell you what you've been working on if you don't know already. And Mars in Aquarius is not as strong. Aquarius doesn't put Mars to work, but we are cooperative. Okay, that Mars part of ourselves, that assertive part of ourselves that is driven and wants to act, cooperative, team playing, will tend to be a little more attracted to the unconventional in that aspect of our life where we've been doing all this work. And I love this quote that I got from Cafe Astrology when I was researching it because I thought it was perfect. It's dynamic yet erratic. So, very capable, very powerful and capable, but kind of just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. Very, very powerful in its ability to get things done, but also just sort of hit and miss what the results are going to be. So here we have, fair-minded, friendly, independent Venus, also sort of looking in terms of doing unconventional things. in terms of their relationships. And Mars also attracted to the unconventional, but really on Venus's team, which is great. And Mars might make a better follower in this situation than a leader, because Mars is a little bit erratic at this time, whereas Venus really just has this idea of what they want, right? Venus is good at receiving. Venus knows what we want. The part of our lives that is Venus knows what we want and knows how to attract it. It's about pulling power as well. And Mars knows how to pursue what isn't just falling into our laps. So it's a really powerful place to be in. The other thing I want to say about Aquarius is that this is pulling our partnerships out to think about our community, our networks, those people structures that we rely on for support and validation, and our responsibility to strengthen them and maintain them. All right, coming up Wednesday, Mercury will make ingress to Pisces. So Mercury is currently over here in Aquarius with Venus conjunct Mars. Mercury is not conjunct with these, but they're in the same sign at this time. So it is a good time to be having conversations about who we want to be in community and what kind of community we want to have around us. And that has to do with our family lives, our friend lives, our relationship as citizens to the community, and also like who we are in our workspace mostly, but also our romantic partnerships. Venus and Mars are always all about the romantic partnerships. So coming up on Thursday, we'll have that first quarter moon where we can get to work. Action Jackson right there in Gemini, which will, our planning looked a lot like doing, and now our doing is going to look a lot like planning. It's going to take a lot of communication is what I'm getting from that, and a little bit of creativity to get from the planning phase, do the work, and get to the culminative goal, or at least part of it, by the full moon, so we have something to celebrate there. And then Sunday, the Sun goes conjunct with Jupiter. And I love how we started up here, Sun conjunct Jupiter, and now it's going to go conjunct with Neptune. I know I said it wrong, y'all. So that's kind of poetic. We begin and end the page with those, but the Sun has been conjunct Jupiter. Sun conjunct Neptune is going to be more about a spotlight on our inspiration, our connection, as I said, to the human collective, and our connection to spirit is really going to be felt and seen and noticed at that time, and really probably find some public expression. Okay, and that is the aspects for today. Thanks for hanging in with me here. If you're still with me 17 or 18 minutes in, I sure do appreciate you. Why don't you give my video a thumbs up, like it, subscribe to my channel, please. Click the notification bell. I post every day. I try to post by 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, but I'm not always successful at that, so I appreciate those of you who show up the night before to watch anyway. And if you have any questions or if anything comes up for you, I love hearing from you all, and I'd be happy to respond if you want to put something in the comment section below the video. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and talk about some tarot. So first we talk about the tarot card on the side of the page. And the tarot card on the side of the page right now is the Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups relates to the second 10 days of the Sun's transit through Pisces. And the Nine of Cups is really about emotional satisfaction, not really striving for emotional satisfaction so much as having found it. Okay, so one thing that comes up for me is if you have a good relationship with somebody in your life, then it's a good thing to be appreciative of that. And if you have a good relationship with yourself, if you have a good relationship with your dog, if you really love the work that you do, if there's something in your life that gives you emotional satisfaction, that's great. This also points, I think, to, it's not just about emotions. Cups, they say they're about emotions and intuition. I would throw in there, I would throw in there, creativity and inspiration as well. Those are all sort of watery flows. And as far as intuition goes, intuitive satisfaction, what would that feel like? I think that would feel like we are moving with what our instincts tell us, right? And getting satisfactory results from it. And I love the feeling of that. And as far as creative and inspirational satisfaction, we've all created things that didn't turn out quite the way we wanted them to, weren't quite as grand or representative of ourselves and what we're trying to say as we would like. And that's okay. It's good to have had that conversation, that experience. And we may have had to move away from something that we put a lot of ourselves into. Everybody does from time to time, but creative satisfaction means having all the space and all the materials and everything you need in order to create your masterpiece. And especially at this time with expanded flow of inspiration and creativity, I really just get this feeling like the word under my breath all the time is masterpiece. We are working on our masterpieces. And, for me, that means, for me, it's like my lifetime is my masterpiece, right? The way I'm living at the moment is sort of my masterpiece. So that I can look at the way I'm living and I can say, is this the best I can do? Because, if not, I'm still at work on that masterpiece. But also, if you are a creator of art or if you're a creator of crafts or projects, this is a good time to be at work on those things and to get the satisfaction out of them that you can, and to really appreciate what you have in terms of those skills and those resources. Okay, and with that said, I'm going to go ahead and mix up my cards. Well, that one just threw out there, but I'm not going to pay it any attention. I'm going to mix up my cards while I remind myself and the cards that the Sun is in Pisces, and Jupiter and Neptune are also in Pisces. They are Pisces co-ruling planets, so we're really experiencing sort of an outer life spotlight on our inspiration, our connection to humanity, our good fortune, how resourceful and well-resourced we are, and our creative ability to, like I said, create our masterpieces, but also to sort of rest and play. And the moon is a waxing crescent, starting in Aries and moving early into Taurus. And so in Taurus, we sort of sink our toes into the soil and really put our roots down and enjoy the comforts and a security of home. And we've got Sun conjunct Jupiter at this time, so that's really a spotlight on good fortune. If you haven't, if you're thinking about asking somebody out on a date, but you think you might need a little bit of luck to get that date, then go ahead and ask. Now is the time. And Jupiter in likewise, a raise or a job for that matter, if there's something that you need to ask somebody for and you want luck on your side, now is the time. Jupiter sextile Uranus says now is the time with changes. Okay, so if you're ready to make a shift or a change, if you really think you've decided, well, I need to, level up on my job or level up on at least what I'm getting paid, or, I want to stop being single, or I want to stop being anything and become something else. Now is the time, because as you see those changes come upon you, as you feel those changes moving within you, if you go with the flow, if you act on your instinct, you'll be rewarded with expansion. You'll be rewarded generously in one way or another. And then Venus conjunct Mars, but now in Aquarius, our partnerships are outward facing now, and it has to do with our relationship to the community and what we can do for others while the community supports us. And we should be having conversations about that right now, because Mercury is in Aquarius for a few more days before it goes into Pisces and becomes a little bit more, our thoughts, plans, and communications become a little bit more creative and relaxed, and really about what we imagine can be for ourselves. So with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn this card. Okay, we've had this one before, but it's been a minute. Seven of Cups. So we've got the Nine of Cups and we've got the Seven of Cups. We're missing the link in between here, which is the Eight of Cups. So this is a person who has all the choices they could possibly want at their disposal. And in this case, this is like really imagining what your choices could be. I want to make some shifts and changes. I want to create something beautiful and new. I'm looking at these options. And, sometimes some of these options don't look so great. And some of them look really good. But you really never know what you're going to get until you choose, right? So, don't be in a state of illusion about all the choices, or about if you're leaning toward one choice because it feels more attractive in one way, but it's not the practical choice, or it's not likely to work out well. I would say, be aware of your choices, but go with the thing that makes you the most feel the most emotionally satisfied. Whatever is gonna give your heart joy. I think that's the thing. And I really see this sort of, I guess I've been seeing this in relationship to Jupiter sextile Uranus, because it says life expands when we roll with the changes, and then all these options roll out in front of you. I don't know if you've ever been in that moment where your life expands and now you have all these options that you didn't have before. It can be hard to choose, and one may not really want to choose. And I think it's still important to remember that that what you want for yourself matters. Your emotional stability, your intuitive security, your creative capacity, these things matter. Okay, so try to remain open to choices that will bring you that emotional feeling of satisfaction and security. Sometimes a wild trip sounds like a fun idea, but we realize we might be just as likely to sort of freak ourselves out. So I suppose that's all I have to say about that today, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your presence, showing up every day. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today.